I've had some questions about how to use or how to solve some of the problems in the homework from Chapter 5, so I thought I'd make a short video. This is covered in the handout for Chapter 5, and we also went over examples in the weekly chat. This problem here is similar to one that you're seeing in your homework, and it's telling about a livestock company. And they tell you the mean weight of the steers is 1137 and a standard deviation of 57 pounds. Based on this model, find the percent of steers that will weigh over 1,100 pounds. So I'm going to go ahead and go over to StatCrunch, and I'm going to go ahead, and if you remember, let me close down some of these windows here. If you remember, we went to Stat, Calculator, Normal, and we're going to go ahead and set up the sampling distribution with that mean weight of 1137 and the standard deviation of 57. And we want to know the percent of steers that will weigh more than 1,100. So I'm going to go ahead and change the direction here, and I'm going to put in the 1,100 that I'm interested in, and then I'm going to put in compute. So we expect about 74.2%, and notice they want one decimal place in the answers, 74.2, and they want it as a percent. So I'm going to go ahead and enter that answer in. Alright, and then what percent of steers would have weights below 1050? So let's go back here again. We're going to change the direction now, and we want to be below 1050. And we expect about 6.3%, and again they're asking for one decimal, 6.3, check. And then the last one, and again I demonstrated this in the weekly chat, between two numbers. So let's go back to our distribution here, and now you're going to click on the Between tab. And you want to go between 1150, so I'm going to put 1150 in here, and 1200. Okay, so we expect about 27.5% of the steers to weigh between 1150 and 1200. Alright, so let's go on to, I think it was number 4, nope, there were two more problems in the same situation. Here we go. Now I've got a different sampling distribution, but the same type of a problem. We're talking about the steer weights again. So I'm going to go back over to StatCrunch and go to Stat, Calculator, Normal. And I'm going to set up my sampling distribution, 1159. Oops. And the standard deviation they gave me was 82. Now I want to go, and instead of putting a number into the window here, I'm going to put a number into the area. So we want the highest 10%. So I want to go greater than, and I want the area over here to be the top 10%. And what I like about this little calculator tool is it shows you that you're actually calculating the correct answer. So we expect the highest 10% or the heaviest 10% of these animals to weigh, let's see, they want one decimal, so 1264.1 pounds. So 1264.1. And then they want to go for the lowest 20%. And now we're going to switch this back to a less than, and I'm going to change the area here to 0.2. So now I'm on the lower side, and we expect the latest cows to be 1089. It's going to round off to 1,100 pounds. Oh, let's go back again. I made a mistake somewhere. 20%, make sure you cut off for the lowest 20%. I'm sorry, it's 1090. It's not 1,100. I rounded off wrong. Sorry about that. It's 1090. There we go. And then, now the middle 40%. Okay, this is kind of interesting because, let's take a look at our distribution here. The middle 40% is going to be in the middle here. And so I'm going to have to figure out, it's not easy. Let's see, I don't actually know if I can do it over here. Let's try it and see. I haven't tried this. Let's see if we can put in the 0.4 here and compute. Okay, it's not going to work it out for me. Okay, so we're going to have to think through this one. So the middle 40% would mean 40% and 40%. And remember, we come down here 50% on either side. So that means the 50%, and I need 20% of it here. So I have to have a 30% over here. So 0.3. So I've got 11, 1115, looks like 1116. Okay, so that gets me 30% below. And then if I want to get the middle 40%, I'm going to go up to 0.7. All right, and then I've got 12.02.0. So now I'm getting, so 70% minus the 30% gives me the middle 40%. So I expect the middle 40% of the cows between, and I can go ahead and check this now that I've got the numbers. Let's check it and see. So you have a nice way to check. I said it was 1116 and 1202, and there I go, 40%. So it worked out nicely for me. And there was one more that had to do with percentiles. Here we go. The percentiles. Now again, this is the area. So let's go back to our density tool, and unfortunately we have a slightly different distribution, so I've got to put in the new mean and standard deviation. And I want the 33rd percentile. So I want to put in here the area. I want the area to the left to be 33%. I need to take these numbers out too. Put in the 0.33 here. Oh, I need to be on the standard one. 0.33, compute. Alright, so 1092, and we're getting the whole number, so 1093. So the 33rd percentile is 1,093 pounds, and that tells me, again, let's go look at the picture here, that 33% of the cows weigh less than that, and 67% weigh more. And the 95th percentile, by the same process, change your area here to 0.95 and compute, it's going to be 1283. Let's go ahead and put this in, and I'll do the IQR one too. Okay, so for the IQR, now you know, for the IQR you want to find quartile 1, which is where the area is 25% to the left. So I get, what is that, 1072, because I'm going to use whole numbers. And then I want the third quartile, which would mean 75% of the area to the left. Compute. And I've got 1194. And so if I take those two numbers, so it was 1194 was Q3, if we just calculate it. And I'm just doing this on my calculator offline. And the other one was 1072. And again, now I've got 122. I can check this also, because let's go over here to the between window. And if I put in those two values, it was 1072 and 1194. So you have a nice way to check here and make sure that you're actually getting the middle 50%, which when it rounds off, it is the middle 50%. So hopefully this will help you with working these problems in Chapter 5. And I really urge you to use StatCrunch, because we're going to be using it for the rest of the semester, and I think it's a lot easier than you trying to look up in tables or inputting all these values into your calculator. So I hope this helps.